Welcome to this Windows and Computer channel, and this is the Tech News Update. We are Friday, February 15th, 2019, and today in our Tech News Update, we have Amazon that finally is canceling its plans for the second headquarters of Amazon in New York City. Many things happened. Lawmakers were unhappy with the arrival of a retail giant, and there's a lot of things. Some people were concerned about the fact that such a big company arriving in New York, and basically it was a big mess. And Amazon decided to say, okay, we're not doing it. It's over. But it's interesting because a poll among New Yorkers, actually 58% of them were happy that the company had headquarters arriving in New York. So this is interesting. Amazon says it has no plans right now to relocate the second headquarters anywhere else for now. They're just thinking of what they're going to do. Well, in what is a very surprising move, Microsoft released the first skip ahead build of Insider Preview. But the surprise move was not that it was a skip ahead. The surprise move is that it was a 20H1 build. That means it's two builds or two versions later. It's the first version for the year 2020, which surprised everybody. And now we're wondering if Insider skip ahead will now be 20H1, fast ring will be 19H2. That's kind of a lot of things going on together. Windows 10 Lite, as some have called it, although I believe there's still not an official name for it. Well, the lightweight Windows 10 operating system, called Windows Lite, would be actually so slim, according to internal documents, that it would virtually run on any device, almost pretty much any device, even if it's underpowered. And this is interesting, as maybe we'll have Windows IoT devices at some point. So, what is making the European market a smartphone exactly? Who are selling the smartphones? Well, Chinese vendors are now 32%, or one-third of the smartphone market in the European market, where they are, of course, really being aggressive because they see that United States market is a little too complicated, especially with Huawei and all of this. Well, the market share of smartphones, or the smartphone sales, actually were down 4% in 2018 to 197 million phones. So the top ones are still Samsung with 61 million units sold, but it's down 10%. And Apple second at 42.8 million phones sold. So it's going to be interesting to see as 2019 goes on how aggressive the Chinese phones could be. Well, we don't have an official announcement. We know a few things. We know WWDC is going to happen, but there's rumors, and pretty good rumors, of a March 25th Apple event that would happen, and there would be some announcements, including an elusive and still unknown TV service coming from Apple. And it's going to be interesting to see, but pretty much everybody's agreeing that March 25th there will be some event from Apple. Facebook is looking at tracking some of its users. Facebook is apparently tracking the location and monitors the people that its service thinks might be a threat to its own employees. Of course, Facebook employees often receive threats in emails and messages. Well, now Facebook is actually tracking and kind of understanding and following everybody that might be a threat to the company. Well, it's interesting because we talked about it this week a little bit, and we talked about how many app makers have actually started abusing the enterprise certificates of the Apple App Store. And this has as a consequence that you can literally have an app on your phone without actually really going through the Apple approval system that's in place. So apparently some have researched the App Store and found things like gambling apps, porn apps, and even some pirated apps that showed up basically on the service, which is okay, kind of something that Apple doesn't want. So Apple is looking into this, and of course will probably revoke some certificates at some point. Ajit Pai, the head of the FCC, is once again calling for carriers to adopt new robocalling tools to stop the enormous amount of robocalls that users are receiving. He says that if nothing is done or if it's not improved, he will enforce regulations. One of the ideas, well, call ID authentication. That would mean that without authentication, you would not be able to call somebody else. A study says despite all the tests, despite all we hear and all the millions of hours of driving self-driving cars on the roads, the study says that, well, self-driving cars are still not ready for deployment as autonomous vehicles, as they require too much human intervention and still need to be tested more and tweaked more before they could hit the road. Also, one of the studies that was used in checking out what is happening has noted that there is a lot of humans rear-ending self-driving cars. A report from analytics firm Risk-Based Security has some good news for 2018, but don't be too happy. So, data breaches were down 3%. That's not bad from 2018 to 2017. It's a small, but it's an amount. The total number of stolen records was down from 7.9 billion to 5 billion. That's also nice. But the bad news, nothing has changed on how data theft happens in 2018. It means still the same way of doing things is still the way that you can get data breaches in enterprise. And it wants to just tell you one thing also. It's still the second worst year on record for data breach. And this was the Tech News Update for Friday, February 15th, 2019. Enjoy our videos. Please subscribe. Give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.